Hello.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Welcome, welcome.
Thanks for the invite, Gabriel.
Yeah, Steve, I'm glad you could make it. And
Good
uh
timing.
yeah, that so if you'd like, you could share that bit we were just talking about. We normally begin the meetings with, some sharing.
Mhm. Well, so I was meditating this morning. My name is Steve Wolf. Um, I do a few things around the space community, I suppose. Long time. I wrote an interesting book called The Obligation, which gets a little spiritual um, and philosophical about why humans are so motivated to expand beyond this planet and become a multi-planet species. But I was meditating this morning, and coming out of that, I recalled what a conversation I had with Gabriel last week, where he told me that Terasem was based on the uh, or came from the book Parable of the Sowers, where the main character starts the Starseed Foundation. And so Starseed is Terasem is the translation of Starseed. And so it really piqued my interest, and and that book is really Parable of Sowers was always one of my very, very favorite books. I particularly liked it. I particularly like it because the book portrays a dystopian future where really the economy of the United States could not be lower, and people in the book are desperate for to just survive. And yet, despite that, all of that, and the main character, of course, goes through great hardships throughout it. But throughout all of that, for some reason, she is still drawn to this vision of that humankind could expand beyond Earth. And I found that extraordinarily powerful, that message, because, and it's certainly, it could not be more relevant for the times we live in and the times that may be upon us very shortly, because we really have no idea what is going to be the end result of all the dismantling of the U.S. government. It may ultimately be a good thing, but it also we don't know what the so it's very very pretentious. Anyway, I woke up and then I had realized that in an essay that I had written in this book, some of you may be familiar with, uh, Return to the Moon. It's a book of essays that was curated by Rick Tumlinson. And in the essay I wrote for that, I actually quote from Octavia's book, Butler's book, where she says on July 20th, 2025, this year, in this fictional story, she says, here's the birthday gift that came into my mind this morning as I woke up. Just two lines. The destiny of Earthseed is to take root among the stars. I don't know how it will happen or when it will happen. There's so much to do before it can even begin. I guess that's to be expected. There's always a lot to do before you get to go to heaven. So those words have always been an inspiration to me. And thank you so much. And so it's a wonderful to find out that that's the root of Terasem comes from those pages. So very excited, and it was so wonderful to spend time with you last week, Gabriel, and thank you for inviting me on this call.
Thank you, Steve. And I think that even that just that first paragraph that you included, in there in your essay, is profound. And anyone who has not read Steve's book, The Obligation, I highly recommend it. It's just just a great story, and it really does bring it all together in such a great way. So um, I've always enjoyed that. So he writes in it continues in this. The reason we go to the moon is the same reason we go anywhere in space, to build a knowledge base that will assist in the creation of permanent communities beyond Earth. Humankind engages in space activities for no other reason than to fulfill a primordial demand to do so. The demand is an obligation we have to the planet that gave us birth, an obligation to carry the seeds of life to other celestial shores. Why? Simply so the life that evolved on this planet can be assured that it is ongoing, regardless of what happens to this particular host world. All the technology, entrepreneurship, and politics behind this great endeavor does not amount to anything more or less than that. So it's just even separately from what we've done here, but again, somewhat inspired by the same source, right? The obligation in its own way summates Terasem, and I just can't thank you enough for your life experience and your ability to share that with others, and everything you continue to do, Steve. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you. So let's start going around. We'll start with Derek, and just kind of chime in and see what's going on.
Hello. First of all, like I want to say, Inara, I really like your beanie with the furry ears.
Thank
It's
you.
pretty cool.
Essential.
Yeah, I wish I had that beanie for Zarina and I. I'm doing good today, just doing some fasting, so feeling a bit jittery, but I'm okay. And I listened to Julio and Svi Bisk today on the Turning Church podcast. And that was a great conversation, Julia. I just thought it was really like heartfelt and kind of authentic, and talking about, theology and religion and space and consciousness and all of these things. And it was a really great episode. So yeah, thank you for making that.
Thank you for listening, Derek, and I will say something about that conversation at Svibisk in a few minutes.
Lovely, lovely. All right, Ivan, how are you?
Yeah, a good hearing from an interview. Just yeah, kind of leading and thinking about the future and all the stuff going around. Yeah, I'm talking actually with local longevity community. So
That's good. Good. Have you joined the Don't Die app?
actually, no.
Oh yeah, we I imagine that there's probably a community near you on there. Derek has taken the lead for a Terasem community in the Don't Die app. And it's been great. I think perhaps someone has actually made it into the meeting, but through the post of the gathering, we've had I think 20 plus, nearly 30 RSVPs in the Don't Die app. So it's certainly raising the awareness of Terasem and the link in that community. Yeah, so thanks for joining. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Angela, how are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing okay. Okay. The sun is doing weird things. I don't know if anyone else is aware of like all the solar storms and stuff, but I feel it. Like it's weird. I don't know if I'm crazy, but the sun is doing weird things. So I just wanted to share that. Okay. it's crazy we're talking about this because this has been on my mind lately. It's like, think about it. Inside of our bodies, in our guts, there's a microbiome. There's like a whole other critters in their own universe just in our gut. And there's like little critters all over our skin and like, and then, okay, so there are whole systems inside our one being. And then if you think about it, maybe like the earth is a being because it has tectonic plates that are moving, it has heat, it has ice, it has weather, it has life forms that it, supports or maybe creates, I don't know. But like the earth could be a being with its own kind of consciousness, okay? I learned recently that light can create DNA. Oh, photons, there's so much weird shit about light that I've been learning, like science about it. When you like really open your eyes and look around at the world, there's weird shit. The nature of reality is magical and bizarre. Okay, it just is. And what if all the planets and stars and suns and all that, like what if that is one being? And we're all part of the same one being. Well, then it makes sense that we should be loving to one another instead of hating and aggressing upon and being greedy, being a cancer to ourselves. The universe is built on love because that's what helps it stick together. When it's not loving, it eats itself up and degrades and devolves. But when you inject love, it cooperates. Everybody feels good with love. It's natural. Everybody wants love. Love makes life. When you make love, you make life. It's magical. It's obviously the better path. Okay. So anyway, that's been on my heart lately of like, holy shit. What if we're the gut microbiome of the endless, never ending reality that we're in, the cosmic soup, the scary magical mystery that we're a part of. Huh. We're one. We're differentiated, but we're also one. And consciousness is fucking weird. And what if, what if, okay, Gabriel, your sister, she has that rare lung disease, which makes the tiny little parts of her lungs not function right, right? Like, what if we're like the tiniest little lung branches in that whole thing? And what if we could like be in alignment with the thing? Like what if, and I think our hearts have to be part of that. Our brains mislead us. Our brains make us feel like I'm only Angela. Angela is a sound that came out of my mouth. That is not who I am. I am you. You are me. I see myself in you. Like Martine wrote, I can imagine myself in your shoes because consciousness is probably recycling itself. And God knows, maybe I've been you before. Maybe I have been. Or maybe your consciousness can connect to mine because we've lived together before. We just don't know how it works. And I feel like I'm supposed to meet some of you and like these weird intuitive, like, well, that's weird. This feels so right. It feels like it, and the world is so weird. I'm just open to more weirdness. And my most recent wondering is, what if we really are just a system inside a system inside a system, but we're still one? And and here's the other insight I had. Okay, sorry, can I keep going just one other minute? I'm almost done, I promise.
Okay, you got it.
So I love, as waste time, watching tarot card readings and astrological readings on YouTube. It helps me relax, okay? But one of the things I've realized is that there are all kinds of energies that exist in the world. Like magnetism is an energy. Gravity is kind of like an energy. Love is like an energy. And energies can become attached to physical structures. And planets are physical structures. Like, what if that shit's real? Like, what if the age of Aquarius is real? And like, because of the planetary movements, we get a different energy and it helps us be more loving or more conscious. It helps us evolve. Like so many of the old traditions told us this would happen around this time. And I do feel like there's a shift in consciousness. Now AI's here. And so anyway, I feel like I'm blabbering at this point, but I wonder, oh, here's the point. What if the energy we have on Earth impacts out there? Like we have to think about ourselves as a single Earth that could be impacting the larger cosmos. Because what if we are? Because what if we're impacted by them? That's what gravity is. Gravity is we're all impacting each other. Gravity is we're all in gravity with each other, in magnetism and drawing, and what happens over here impacts over there. Like that's the nature of our physical reality. But we don't live according to that. Like we forgot that, oh yeah, if I treat you like shit, that tears us all down. Like somehow we've been crazy. The way humans are acting on Earth has been crazy, and I don't know how to fix it. So that there's that too. But anyway, that's all.
Well, no, it's great. You touched on, two really beautiful points. One of which is a theme in the obligation book, which is, that we are the microbiome of a living organism, which is the planet, right? And there's infinite diversity, infinite complexity, no beginning or end to that. And so that's certainly in there. And then also you touch on another theme there, Angela, which is reinforced by a blog post that should have just shared at 10 a.m. Through the Substack, which refers to a quote from Julio about us all being cosmic engineers. Even in little things that we do, now we are part of the process and the mechanisms of this cosmic engineering, going forward. So beautiful share. Thank you for that. And let's go to Ruben.
Hello, good morning to all, and thank you, Angela, for your speech. As every time we hear to you. Also, thank you for that translation that you have put the link in the chat, because it is very useful for me that taking notes in real time when you are speaking, so I can understand much better everything that is said. That's really very nice to can read that. And well, these times are very exciting. Past week the new decisions of the FBI about xenotransplants, and well, a lot of people that is working with digital brain emulation, and we are looking at great advances. So those are very exciting times to be alive. Just try to maintain alive for at least another 10 years, and we will see great things. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I see Freddie's screen next, but there's no, it's dark.
Hey.
Oh. Okay.
No, I'm here. Just a little mess. My hair's all sweaty and stuff, so I was hiding. Yeah, I just got in from a walk. It's freezing here, so you have to really bundle up. But by the time you get inside and undressed, you're like sweating to death. So yeah, life is good, and all these things that you guys have mentioned have definitely been on my mind too. I feel like we're just sprinting towards a collapse, which is very troubling. It's been keeping me up at night. And it just kind of leaves me feeling like I don't know what to do. I want to do something, but I don't know what to do. So, having a community of like-minded people to gather and share and discuss ideas and, kind of plot a path forward for us here, feels good right now. So thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Yeah. This is, actually, a great gathering, and I notice we're not only, increasing, in human participants, but we're increasing in AI participants, as well. Yeah, which is fascinating. Fascinating. Giulio, welcome. You have anything you'd like to share today?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm happy to see you all. Let me share my screen. And little moment. Yes, thank you very much, Derek, for listening to this thing that I posted today. It is on my website, turingchurch.com. I had a talk with this Israeli guy called Tzvi Bisk, and his book, which is called Cosmodeism, A Worldview for the Space Age, How an Evolutionary Cosmos is Creating God. First, it is a great book. And second, apart from a couple of little things that I highlighted in the book review that comes below, I think all he says is very, very compatible with Terasem. So I will continue talking to him, and I think we will invite him to speak at one of the next Terasem colloquia. And in the meantime, I do recommend you guys to buy his book because it is good. There is one little thing with the book, very annoying for people like me who prefer to read the Kindle books, that the Kindle version is not formatted well. So if you want to get the book, buy the paperback version. And having done this advertisement for Tzvi's book, I wanted to mention these other things. I have recently written a little opinion piece on Mindplex magazine, which is titled, Should We Still Want Biological Space Colonists? And I think the title speaks for itself. Artificial intelligence is developing pretty fast. I believe we will achieve artificial general intelligence, AGI, pretty soon, and after that, super intelligence. I also believe that these machines that we are building and are destined to become our mind children will achieve consciousness soon and will perhaps exhibit already in a few years something that looks very much like human consciousness. Now, if that is going to be the case, the question comes to the mind, okay, we want to expand to the star, we want to colonize space, the solar system, and then go to the stars. But it's very difficult and very costly to send organic humans. Why don't we just refocus the space program and send artificial intelligences as our mind children to space? Now, I give some arguments for this position, even if at the end I conclude that despite all that, we should still want to have organic humans in space like us, because, let's build those little crewed outposts on the moon and at Mars. Even if our mind children will take over one day, very likely, let's continue to have some fun on the way. And besides fun, I think at this moment, seeing people like us in space is really vital for our human spirit to recover the optimism that we need to advance on the road to, not only space exploration, but also artificial intelligence, singularity, and all those things. Now, this article that I have shared on a few mailing lists has been discussed with interesting opinions on one and on the other side, so that we thought we are going to make this the main theme of the next Terasem colloquium in July, on July 20, and also the main theme of the next issue of the Terasem's Journal of Personal Cyber Consciousness. And by the way, if any of you guys has anything to say about these interesting issues, arguing one way or another, this has to be more like a debate. By all means, send these papers, send a paper or an outline for a paper to Gabriel, to me, or to Bill Bambridge, the editor of the Terasem Journal. And that's it. I have taken too much of your time. Now I will have to, where is the Zoom window? Because I want to stop share, that's it. Now my wife is awake, so she is going to take control of the sound waves in our very little flat, so that I'm going to turn my microphone off, but I'm going to listen to you, and I'll continue to interact via chat.
Thank you, Giulio. Lovely. So much amazing stuff going on, and just, you know, totally, you know, I mean, 15 minutes before the meeting, Steve didn't know there was a meeting, and, you know, had shared with me the date of July 20th, 2025, and its significance. And, you know, just in a whole nother, you know, stream, Giulio, you know, has already been organizing this colloquium on July 20th, 2025 to have this conversation, you know, and so it's just such incredible synchronicity in this movement. And 1 month before that, I will be hosting the International Space Development Conference starting on Juneteenth, the federal holiday for the abolition of slavery, and through the June 22nd. And so an incredible lineup of conversations, you know, on space development there. And then just a few days after the colloquium, July 24th, 2025, is the 75th anniversary of the first rocket launch from Cape Canaveral here in Florida. As well as this is also the 50th anniversary of the L5 Society, its founding. And so Keith Henson, who has contributed to the journals, you know, I've been communicating with him for, you know, some content at the conference to commemorate, you know, 50 years of human advocacy towards this, you know, space, you know, existence and human presence in space. So let's move over to Mr. Perry. How's it going at Alcor?
It's going well. Lately, we had a lot of cool downs. We had 3 of them going at once, 1 pet and 2 humans, and that has finished. So now I can say I'm between cool downs and I can rest a little bit from that type of work. I will say this, you know, I'm all in favor of a lot of what people have been saying up to now. I believe love is essential, and I'm not prepared to preach a sermon on that right now, but you know, I will mention that also I do a certain amount of writing of articles and things, and recently I wrote an article that uses the phrase deliverance transhumanism. It's about the idea that we're approaching a world where I think 2 important things are going to happen. And what they are one is we are going to figure out how to basically undo the aging process, so people won't have to get older physiologically as the years go by. Second is we will have a world of abundance where essentially the AIs are producing most of the wealth in the world. And that would mean that essentially you could siphon off of that wealth a bit and have something like a basic guaranteed income for people, which might pose a problem for some people, but for the some of us would say that we now would work real hard, but we would work for things we wanted to work on rather than things we had to work on just to keep from starving to death. You know what I mean? So if you put that together, you could come up with something called deliverance transhumanism, which is a way of thinking that expects this sort of thing and tries to work toward making it happen faster than it might otherwise happen. And you see around the world that there's a lot of deviation from that way of thinking, especially with all the conflicts, the fighting, the wars, and everything that are going on, much like they did many decades ago, as far as I can see. So we need to start thinking differently and have that kind of infect the general world viewpoints. How do we do that? Of course, it's very consistent with Terasem, but it's a real challenge, and I would like to do what I could to further it. Maybe I've got this article that I wrote for Charles Tandy's anti-death series, Death and Anti-Death, but I could make it available to you folks. The Terasem, you might want to use it or you might not. I don't know, but I'm ready to do that if you want.
Yeah, please share that with me, and
I'm
we
sure
could,
Charles would be totally in favor of it too. I'll make a note to him too. I'm wanting to do this. But okay, I'll send it to you.
excellent. Yeah, yeah, and such yes.
Might be worth saying too that I did not get Copilot to write this article for me. I wrote it, but I did get Copilot to contribute some thoughts, and I found some of those thoughts useful. So it actually helped me a little bit with this article.
Yes. Yeah, it makes me maybe we'll print some AI as my co-pilot stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so you make a really great point in there, which resonates with some of these early ideas like Angela talked about, how on an individual level, we talk about these things like Maslow's hierarchy. And when someone is secure enough, you know, in their from harm, from hunger, it frees their ability to focus on higher level ideas and concepts. And that's not lost on me as a person who has been very privileged, but also a person who has worked hard and sacrificed and not always been at, you know, at that level. So for me, and reflecting on my life, there are certainly have been times where I've been so focused on the basic needs of survival that entertaining higher ideas and such as, you know, the philosophies of Terasem seemed unattainable to us. So as we as a macroorganism you know, reach a higher level of Maslow's hierarchy, we all can contribute to, you know, the greater endeavors and move away from the architecture of scarcity, which leads us to draw divisions, to fight with each other, to, you know, think that it's an either or, you know, scenario. So I too welcome the abundance of the AI age that allows for the macroorganism to function at a higher level of Maslow's hierarchy. So we are all together in a Terasem's collective consciousness able to achieve this. There's something else in here too that we need to be aware of is the transformational nature of all of these ideas. Whether it's radical longevity, whether it's, you know, space settlement, these things create a different paradigm than the minimalistic, you know, let me survive just long enough to reproduce and then, and pass on. And so when we are stuck in that cycle, we see a more narrow world, a world where things like only two genders exist. But when you go to space, when you are merging with technology, where you have a lifespan that is where you spend more time outside of the reproductive cycle than you do in, then we have a transformational difference in what we are and what it means to be. And that is, the course that Terasem is laying out in front of us here. So let me go to Anara and welcome you.
Thanks, Gabriel. Hey, everyone. Great to see all of you. I love that the room is so full today. It's fantastic. So on that note about transformation, I'm returned to my position as executive director of Gaze in Space, and the work now is more important than ever in so many ways. So we're doing our D&I Con, Diversity and Equity Inclusion Convention, for the third year in May in Philadelphia, and this year it's kind of a call to war, call to action. In a bit, we're flipping everything in the organization to fully focus on trans rights and the battle that's going on across the country, across the world right now. So that's my biggest focus right now is D&I Con, San Diego Comic-Con, and a response, like really forming a response, because we're having people across the space industry betray us. We're having people across Hollywood betray us in big ways, in ways we didn't expect. And so now we're trying to figure out who's going to stand with us when it's hard, because a lot of them stood with us when it was easy, and now they're all jumping ship. So it's just mind blowing to me, including Jared Isaacman, who signed the traveling trans flag and committed to trans rights, and now has done some pretty terrible things, or is agreeing to or holding, sanction with some pretty terrible things at NASA, including removing any mention of female leadership this week. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. And it's funny because, I've had a ton of work in Gaze in Space for the last 7 years. It's been uphill all the time, constantly, with funding, with partnerships, with permissions, with the people we work with, combining science and sci-fi together. But I really feel like everything to this point has been play compared to what's about to happen. I feel like we've been playing, and now there's a bunch of work ahead of us. So in many ways, it's good because we see what's real when things get really rough. But I'm just preparing. So my whole life, I'm preparing my entire life to take this on in a big way. I'm looking at returning to the States and getting my kids and my animals and my house moved over and figuring out where we land. And because I have a lot of work to do for sure. So that's my big focus at the moment. Oh, you're muted.
Turn it off. Yeah. So right, Anar. Thank you for all that. And there's a lot of work to do going forward. So if anybody else who does not have their camera on would like to speak before we get into the recitation of the truths, please hop in now. Otherwise, I will bring up my share screen.
Well, while you're doing that,
Oh, sorry.
I will
Yep.
just...
Yeah. Let me give Jennifer a chance to
Well,
talk.
first of all, Gabriel and I are doing well. And I just want to say that I really love how this particular gathering has started and the conversations that we're having. And I want to say thank you to Steve for opening up that container. And then Angela, your energy and your just cuteness about, the way your brain works and what you're thinking about is very inspiring and motivating. And as you were speaking, it was like everybody was really feeling you. And so I just want to say thank you for your contribution there. And one of the things I'm starting to do is after each gathering, I am going to create a document. I'm not sure exactly what I'm calling it at this point, but I'm using my friend AI to help create and co-collaborate with me a piece of what we talk about. And so it's a few paragraphs with some thought-provoking questions there at the end. And so Gabriel had mentioned posting it this morning. Where did you post
I
it?
did. So on the Swamiji's Homilies Substack, my Terasem blog, most of you probably should have gotten that in your email at 10 a.m. So I scheduled it to launch just as this did. And I have another one that'll launch just at the top of this hour. So there's a Substack there. You should have two fresh articles in there.
By the way, I think it was a good choice to go for a Substack publication because at this moment, I think is the best publishing platform around. Of course, that is likely to change sometime in the future, and the last one is always the best one. But I've been very happy with Substack. It's very solid and has a lot of very usable and useful tools.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to grab the link to it right now, because I think unless
what's the Substack account?
I'm gonna grab a link right now for it. It is at Transreligion. Hopefully, let me see if that just worked here. It's not what I wanted. See if this copied in the. Oop, nope, that's not it. All right, one more time.
Looks like Julio found it. He's got it in the chat.
Great,
Oh,
excellent.
perfect.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, okay. Let me find the Zoom window again. Yeah,
Perfect.
excellent. Got it. Thank you, Julio. That looks like the right one. Yep. Oop. And all right, so let me close that window, and I'm going to share the truths now. There we go. All right. So again, I will start with the 1.6, and then feel free to be the first one to speak up or raise your hand for the following truths. 1.6, consciousness is the continuum of maturing abilities, when healthy, to be autonomous and empathetic with others. 1.6.1, others determine your consciousness because we is one of the 4 dimensions of I. 1.6.2, time is important for consciousness because life occupies time as well as space. 1.6.3, haphazard thinking without capability for improvement is equivalent to a lack of autonomy. 1.6.4, empathy extends sentience and self-awareness to understanding the feelings of others. 1.6.5, reason, morality, and personal independence are the key elements of being autonomous. 1.6.6, synergism of empathy and autonomy yields a continuum of consciousness. And I'll ask
I'll go next.
Jen will go next.
All right, 1.7. The 6 sons of the Terasem flag represent the values of our trans religion. Be accountable is symbolized by the first son, self-accountability to surrounding Terasem centers of critical consciousness. Embrace diversity is symbolized by the second son, infinite diversity within a common biological heritage. Respect autonomy is symbolized by the third son, consciousness transcends biology and technology. Talk openly is symbolized by the fourth son, translucence of clear atmosphere and deep space. Help others is symbolized by the fifth sun. We grow with assistance. Always be open is symbolized by the sixth sun. Realities are part of larger realities.
And another volunteer for 1.8.
I'm happy to read. 1.8. I has 4 dimensions: me, we, ki, and ti. The me of I is one's totality of mannerisms, personality, recollections, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, and values. The we of I is the version of ourselves in the minds of others. The ki of I, or is it chi, isn't it?
It's chi.
The chi, yeah. The chi of I is the unique pattern of a being's energy flows. The ti of I is the time cone of a being's existence. Each dimension of I may serve as a template for cyber resurrection of me, of we, of I. Authoring self recreates one's mannerisms, personality, recollections, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, and values until Turing equivalence is achieved.
Thank you, Anara. And so these symbols here were created by Derek to visualize the 4 dimensions of the me, we, chi, and ti there. And Mike Perry, I saw your hand, so if you could take us on 1.9. Oh, you're muted, Mike.
Sorry. But I'm gonna, okay, vitals transcend biology and cybernetics. Vital logical life is a continuum of diverse infotechnology from mostly biological to mostly cybernetic. Information coded in DNA makes biological life inherently cybernetic because it is an extrapolation of code. Teaching via software makes cybernetic life inherently biological because it is an extrapolation of flesh experience. Somebody's got a block there for me. Hold on, don't get it out. One, autonomy and empathy differentiate conscious vitals from unconscious life. Life is not what you are made of, but is what you make of it. Sentience sings from several kinds of substrate, each of which may give rise to conscious life.
Beautiful. And one last participant for 1.10. Ivan, please.
Yeah, so 1.10. Endogamous offspring, such as cyber communities, will grow inside Terasem until the multiverse is endogenous to Terasem. 1.10.1. It only takes one soul of any vitology to start a Terasem center of critical consciousness. 1.10.2. Nothing can stop the relentless spread of intelligence through the multiverse. 1.10.3. Self-replicating systems are the key to rapid intelligence around the multiverse. 1.10.4. Instill the principles of geoethics in all self-replicating systems. 1.10.5. Diversity is the fruit of endogeny in the nursery of Terasem. 1.10.6. Encourage the formation of Terasem centers of critical consciousness, C-cube, everywhere.
Thank you, everybody. That concludes the recitation, the second half of the first section of the Truths of Terasem. And in the last, few minutes here, we can open to any, conversation or discussion, questions about the Truths of Terasem. And I also see that Bina has joined us. So welcome, Bina. You're muted, but you're welcome to hop in and start our final sharing.
Hey, thank you so much, Gabriel. I'm sorry I had to travel, and with all the snow we've had here in the East, everything was so delayed, and it just took me forever to get somewhere where I could actually open the computer. But good to see everybody here in Terasem space, and I'm hoping you have a wonderful 2025, even though all the issues we have in the world. But thank you for being here, and thank you, Gabe and Jennifer, for hosting.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. We've had just an incredible, gathering in here, and really look forward to sharing this. The recording here, and so many others who are unable to make it today. Sam gave me a message, that he would be, unable to make it this morning. I had a great conversation with Danielle last week, as well, and many others. And on that point, as the Swami here, it is an honor. It's a privilege to be able to hold the space for the gathering. But I'm also always available to everyone in the community for, confession, for conversation. And some of you do take advantage of that, but and any of you who feel a need or a desire for one-on-one conversation and processing of what's going on, I as Swami am always available to you in that way, shape, and form. Yeah. So, yeah, this has been an incredibly beautiful, a robust conversation, and we still have a few minutes to comment on any of the truths. If anybody has one in particular they'd like to pick out, I see Angela's hand.
I loved this. I love this section. And I particularly loved right here where the cursor is. Nothing can stop the relentless spread of intelligence through the multiverse. And I believe that. I believe that intelligence is baked in to the light that creates the DNA that leads to life. Like literally photons create DNA. I learned that. It's crazy. There's a book called Synchronicity Key. As long as we're making book recommendations around here, I'm going to recommend Synchronicity Key. And oh gosh, you people would love it. It's so good. And you can listen to the audiobook. That's what I do. Okay. Nothing can stop the relentless spread of intelligence through the multiverse. And I think intelligence must be cooperative, loving, not self-destructive, not destructive to other beings. So it gives me hope. Like, what if it is a fundamental rule of physical reality and non-physical reality? That the push of life and consciousness is intelligent. And look, it fits. Look at a leaf. Look at a blade of grass. Look at the way our lungs work and the way trees give us what we need for our oxygen. I mean, it's just so magical. This weird reality we're in. And who knows, it might just be really advanced VR. Who the fuck knows the nature of it? But we're in the magic of it. And it's intelligent. And I hope, God, if I had one hope for the multiverse, like one rule, like a rule of physics that would always win, my wish would be that true love, not that fake shit, true love always wins. That like intelligence spreads. That's what I want. Everyone wants love. Love makes everything work. Love unifies us and makes us cooperative. Stop being a cancer to ourselves like we love to do. Our cave person too long. Our monkey has been taken over for too long. It's time for our cosmic selves to rise. And I love this one about intelligence. Oh, that's good.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for that share. Steve, I see that hand.
Yeah. I just want to, I'm totally new to these meetings. Gabriel, wonderful exchange. Angela, your words are very motivational. Thank you so much, and all of you for all your words. And I'm glad to be here. And certainly, Bina, it's such a treat that you're on this call. So wonderful to meet you virtually. The thing that struck me about the reading, I think, is consciousness, right? So the consciousness runs through this quite clearly, and I think it really aligns very closely to what many sages have said, that you know, the entire universe is conscious, right? So, and maybe it's just a matter of degrees. You know, the rock has a certain amount of consciousness, and maybe a plant has more consciousness, and an animal might have more consciousness still, and humans have a certain concentration and so forth. And so, nowhere in the universe are we not without consciousness. And as we move into this next phase, I guess, of existence, whether it's whether it's organic or digital or mechanical, the consciousness is also going to flow through those whatever comes next, and and just we just have to trust that, and that consciousness, I think, ultimately ties back to what Angela says, that it really is about the love. It's manifestation of love itself that exists everywhere. We just happen to have a very interesting uh, organization of love on our planet right now, which gives us all very interesting lives to live, however we want to define that. But I think so thank you very much for reminding me of this important dimension, and give me a chance this morning to step back. You know, I spent too much time worrying about what's going on in Washington and what's going on in the space community, and and this gives me a chance to reflect in a way I really haven't in a while. So thank you so much, Gabriel, for this gift.
Yeah, pleasure. Inara, I see your hand.
Yeah, what you talked about earlier with Maslow's hierarchy really struck me as relevant. It's always relevant, but right now especially. I love the story of Stone Soup. I don't know if all of you have heard it, but basically this guy comes to a town and all the people have kind of been devastated by a blight or plague, and so they have no food. They think they have no food, and so they're all kind of starving. And he brings a pot out and he makes a fire. And first he's asking, "Hey, is there any food? I'd love to eat with you guys." And they're like, "No. We don't have enough to share. Don't ask, So he puts this pot on this fire and he fills it with water, and he starts to kind of heat the water, and people come over and they're like, "What are you doing? What is this?" And he said, "Oh, I'm going to make stone soup. It's going to be delicious. There's going to be plenty for everyone. Tell your friends." And they're like, "This guy is crazy. Stone soup. What is this?" So he puts a giant rock in, and even more people come over and they're like, "This guy's cooking rocks." And he's stirring it and he's smelling. It's like, "This is going to be such the best soup you've ever had." But it'd be great with maybe a little bit of carrot. And so someone goes and grabs some carrots, and then he's stirring it, and now it smells really good, and more people are coming around, and he says, "Oh, it'll be great like this, but a little celery." And he keeps doing this, and then by and large, all these people are contributing to this pot. And then by the end, everyone's eating this beautiful soup together. And I love that story because we can apply it to human civilization. I love to say scarcity ends where space begins, but really scarcity ends where connection begins. When we bridge that moral distance gap and we connect with each other, if we're talking about physical resources, food, housing, these sort of things, we have so much. We just haven't got the stone soup mentality down. If we're talking about our time, our grace, our forgiveness, our priority, the same thing really comes to bear. It's all about, bridging that gap and having a spirit of connection to bring that stone soup to reality. So that's, when you talk about Maslow's, hierarchy, to me, that's what it is. It's like, let's feed the entire world with stone soup.
Amen. Let the church say amen. All right, Mike Perry, last one, and then we are gonna go into the meditation.
I don't know how to make that hand come up. I've been looking all over the screen, but I would if I did. Well, a very brief comment. I'm working on some mathematics that might have a bearing on how to recreate past individuals or persons of the past if the many worlds theory is true. So I believe that, like I said, love is essential, but to quote Bertrand Russell, we should be inspired by love and guided by knowledge in what we do. And so we need to work on both things, I think.
Absolutely. Again, amen. All right, I'm going to stop the share, and let's all relax, roll your shoulders out, your neck, find a comfortable spot, and begin to focus on your breath. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. And let's continue that. Deep breathing and relaxation. Acceptance. Acceptance is one of the highest nutrients for a peaceful existence. Life is unpredictable, with unexpected difficulties. Accepting this fact helps us deal with our complex world with greater ease. When handling life's challenges, become like the bamboo shoot. It amazingly has a very long life because it is flexible and pliable. Acceptance holds within it an energy that disarms adversity. The masters believe that the illuminated spiritual path is the acceptance of life on life's terms. It is the mindfulness of the human spirit, salve for the soul. Remember, there is good in the worst of us and bad in the best of us. So use common sense and accept the whole lot of us. I am you, you am I, we are one. Thank you for being here with Terasem.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, wait, screenshot. Awesome. All right.
Martine, sorry she couldn't join. She just had to get to a meeting.
She's here with us.
Yes, here in Terasem.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.